What's up? Got to be a director, producer, talent, roadie, grip, all not all things to all people. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. We'll get started here in just 1 second. Hopefully, we have Kevin checking us out, being our checker outer, and here we go. Thank you so much for being with us on a Tuesday night in the greatest high school sports conference in the land on the WCAC Spectacular. I'm Ken Marangolo. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I welcome you to Tuesday night. Wherever you are tonight, I hope you are safe. I hope you are healthy and happy and making the most of the situation as it is. And our hearts and minds and thoughts and prayers are with all of you. Um, and we're going to do what we do on Tuesday nights, and hopefully you can join us and take your mind off things for a moment or two. I want to bring in my co-host this evening, Tim Strachan. T, you there?
I'm here, man. We may be on somewhat of a lockdown, but nothing's going to get me down enough to not talk about some sports with you on a Tuesday night. We got a great guest with us tonight, too. This is going to be a lot of fun, man.
It is. We do have a great guest, and we're going to bring him right on. This is going to be our push. You know, we're going to try our hardest to bring regular content out of the WCAC. You heard our what I thought was great hearing from a guy like Keita ago. We're going to hear more stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm still really upset with you about that.
I know.
I didn't get the text until later. You did text me, but for some reason something happened and it didn't come till late.
We got a lot
I
of
get
issues.
a notification that you're on air with Keith Ergo,
I know.
and I don't get to talk to him.
It's you know what, we're gonna have him back. We're gonna have him back. But now I'm sharing
We're
the love.
having him back.
I'm sharing the Bishop McNamara Mustang love with the DeMatha Stag tonight because we are so proud to have with us head coach of the Bishop McNamara Mustang football program, Keita Malloy, pride of Bishop McNamara. Coach, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to get on you guys' show.
So we're going to kind of dance all over the map a little bit. I want to make sure everyone understands we're talking to the Hall of Famer, Keita Malloy. And
That's right. Congratulations,
yeah.
Coach.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Very humbling. Very blessed. Very blessed.
T, as you know, I've learned a few things in my life, and one of those things is standing by myself. I don't look so good, but standing next to guys like you, guys even like Kevin Ricka, and especially like Keita Malloy, makes me look a whole lot better. So, thank you guys for standing in with me. Aaron Carmichael was first to post "Go Mustangs." Yes, sir, Mr. Carmichael, you are correct. And let me kick this off by asking a question that kind of takes us all the way back. And we talked about this a little bit, Coach, back to the last time we spoke, and that is you played at Bishop McNamara. You played in what is now the WCAC, what was then the Metro, and then the WMAC, WMAC. Can you talk a little bit about coming from that, and then we'll kind of take that journey with you.
Well, we all know, arguably probably the best conference in the country. Makes you raise your standard. Makes you prepared for the things that come after high school, both academically and athletically, obviously. Played with a lot of great players. Tioga Jackson, NFL guy, Mark Williams. So when you play with that caliber of talent and face some great talent in a Marvin Graves and a Lawrence Moten and my very good friend Bryce Bevel, you have no choice but to raise your standards of play and what it takes to succeed on that level.
Yeah, you played at a time. I mean, you just mentioned some of the players. I mean, playing against guys like Marvin Graves and Lawrence Moten. I mean, just talk about those days and taking you back to when you were a kid and having your opportunity to play. And we don't argue about it, Coach. This is not arguably, it is the best league in the nation. There's no doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, to see some of that talent at that age, I don't know if you really appreciate it until you go on and do other things. I mentioned Marvin Graves, who I have a lot of respect for, probably arguably one of the best quarterbacks I ever seen play, and he cost me a championship. So I still hold that against him, but had a lot of respect for him. He was kind of the original Donovan McNabb, and went on to do great things at Syracuse. But like I said, when you play in that kind of league, in every sport, I played basketball and baseball, and you see some of those guys and you see that talent. Like I said, it does nothing but make you better as a person, better as a player, because if you don't bring it every week, you can't succeed in this conference, and that's been shown throughout.
Yeah, Kevin and I talk about, because we were water boys back in the day of those, that you're talking about. We were just right on the cusp. We're getting into the high school ranks, but we remember watching Lawrence Moten. We thought he was one of the best football players we'd ever seen in our lives. We were at the time confused that he decided to go basketball. Obviously, he made the right choice for himself.
Right.
But I mean, could you imagine what kind of a football player he would have been in the NFL? I mean,
I can't.
Unbelievable.
I seen it firsthand. Like I said, people don't realize that how talented these guys were. Obviously, like you said, he's known for his basketball prowess, but he was a legit first team all conference.
Oh my God.
Football player. So you just had it going every week, and just like I said, every season, Charlie Harrison, Ed Carroll, and you just saw some of the amazing things and great coaches. And rest in peace to the great Bill McGregor. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, not Bill McGregor. Obviously, sometimes when I play him, I want him to rest in peace.
Obviously Morgan Wooten.
So you're talking about Moss Collins.
Morgan Wooten.
And Morgan Wooten is cool.
Yeah,
sure.
When you have those guys, Moss Collins, like I said, a lot of respect, a lot of legendary Hall of Fame type coaches and players, and that's something you just don't get every day to have that kind of chance and that opportunity to face that kind of talent. And it helped me move on in my career. I've often joked with a lot of people that I probably seen more competition in my high school career than I did in my college and pro career. So
no, we get that around here, Coach.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, so it's just a lot of respect for those guys, just seeing those guys and what they went on to do and still doing great things.
Well, I mean, talk about still doing great things. It's been certainly an honor and a joy for me to be doing this and to be able to be doing it in a way that's inclusive of my alma mater. I don't know if in case anyone didn't know, I went to Bishop McNamara. I know people, no one seems to know that. I never talk about it. But just kidding. The fact of the matter is, it's so great to know that people at McNamara and so many other WCAC schools are from McNamara and so many of these WCAC schools. So I guess my question to you would be, as you kind of are leading this program back to where we all know it's going to be, how much more footing does it give you as a coach to have that foundation, to have walked through those halls and to really know in many respects exactly kind of what the young men in your locker room are thinking and feeling?
Well, one thing I've learned is, clearly we're in a generational change. I often said that amateur sport has pretty much died. So you have to be able to get the pulse of the players in the school and have to try to restore the pride, honestly. I had the opportunity to go hear Nick Saban speak a couple weeks ago, and it was almost like listening to myself. He talked about the high rate of transferring and just where the loyalty is gone. So for me, being a Bishop McNamara grad, I believe the Marine would go. So I'm always trying to instill that in the players to understand how special it is to do something internally and to be able to deal with adversity and stick things out. So, my goal is always to try to get them to understand how special a place Bishop McNamara is. I don't want to go anywhere else. I came back to Bishop McNamara from coaching a college job. That's how much respect and honor I have being a Bishop McNamara grad. So I want my players to feel that, and I think we're starting to do that. A lot of talented kids going on to do some great things, and they're starting to restore the pride in Bishop McNamara, and that's always been the goal, to change that kind of culture and have that understanding that to be here is special. Nobody said it was going to be easy, and it'll be that much more satisfying as we continue to rebuild this program.
I agree with you, Coach. I mean, being a DeMatha grad myself, I know that that's one of the things why DeMatha is so successful in all their sports for so long is that pride that has been laid there and the pride that has been carried from generation to generation. It's great to see that that's what you're trying to do at McNamara, is restore that, because with great pride comes success. And then with great success comes, more things. And one of the reasons why you got into coaching, I know, is not just to make them better football players, but to make them better young men. And you had a couple guys too on this team the last couple of years that I think have embodied that, with Kenny Womack and your linebacker
Quinn
Osborne.
With Quinn Osborne. So, I mean, just those two guys in and of themselves really stand out as two guys that were there to help you restore that kind of pride.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You speak of those two young men, I can't, say enough about not what I did for them, more so what they did for me. Two of the finest young men you'd ever meet, both on and off the field, academically, team captains, leadership, and they really took hold of the team. I didn't have to do much. And like I said, I spent the first year trying to find the highest bridge I can jump off. Second year, the bridges got smaller, and then with those guys, starting to take hold of the team, I didn't have to do much. I have a quick story, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
Sure.
I decided I was going to move practice to the morning this season. So we practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. Obviously before school starts, get a jump on the day, eliminate some distractions. And the first practice day that we're going to go at 6 o'clock, I pull up at the school and I get there and it's about 5:15 and there's nobody there. And it's dark and I'm going to myself, man, this was a really bad idea. Whether kids are going to show up late, if they were going to show up at all. And I go sit down in my office and I start getting prepared for practice. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is going to happen. Well, I walk out to the field about 5:50 and the entire team was out there already stretching.
Nice.
And that sent a message to me that these guys really get it. They were there, like I said, 3 years ago, I'd have to drag them out the locker room or call and find out where they were, and they were already done. There wasn't one person late. They were already out there. They were already getting practice started. So that's
going to serve them beyond football as well, Coach.
Absolutely. But Javon Fonbroy is also a team captain. Again, those guys really, really just embody everything that I've been trying to instill, and it was a very proud moment for me. It was an exciting moment, and we kind of rolled from there. So those guys, like I say, they're going to go on and do great things. Any coach will be lucky to have them. Like I said, both on and off the field, they won't find better quality young men than they will in those guys.
Yeah, and I'm miffed on Quinn. I just don't understand why some of the bigger schools didn't come by and get him. He's going to do an unbelievable job at William & Mary, correct?
Absolutely.
And and especially when he gets a little bit more meat on that frame, he's going to wreak some havoc in that conference. And I think some major Division I schools are going to go, how did we miss that guy? I've been in this business going on 27 years, and I spend a lot of time, obviously, as a college coach, and I ask myself that question, but I also understand the business of it. So
sometimes you can outthink yourself when it comes to recruiting. And one of the things I try to tell coaches when they come to our building is, I used to sit in the same chair you're sitting in. So if I tell you the kid can play, the kid can play. And Kenneth Womack and Quinn Osborne are two program-changing players, and I will stand on that. So, but I also try to get the kids to understand it's not about the biggest school. It's not about the Division I. It's a fit for you. What's going to make you happy, your family. Neither one of those guys is going to pay a dime for college. Can't beat that.
That's amazing.
William and Mary is going to be really happy to have that young man. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And he can do anything he wants.
Absolutely.
Career-wise, life-wise, with a piece of paper from William and Mary and time on that field in that program. I probably the closest I came to losing it on a field this year was at McNamara homecoming. We ain't able to watch Quinn, and I got a special place for him. And I will tell you, as far as you guys said, he needs to meat on those bones. I saw him a couple months. I saw him within the last 30 days. That meat's coming.
He's definitely been working hard. He always does.
He always does. The
Yeah.
cool thing about those guys and guys like him, or when we show up to do, for example, girls basketball games, we show up to do other events where Bishop McNamara is, who do we see? We see guys like Quinn Osborne, and we see guys on the team supporting their classmates. And that's also just another huge aspect of the WCAC. I know that's in high schools all over the place. But, it's special to me. It's special to us to see guys who are stars in their own right, doing it the right way, and leading from the student section as well. And, Coach, you should know that you talk to players at Bishop McNamara, the one thing that they'll say is they learn football, and I think that's huge, right? Because how many coaches are looking to plug and play transfers and upperclassmen who are good athletes or play, not to knock it, but sometimes there's something that gets missed, and that's why maybe a program gets to a point where you don't feel like you have that kind of level of commitment possible. And then what happens? You talk to these kids, and we see it in other schools around the league as well. They learn football, and they're hungry for it, and they're thirsty for it, and they realize if they put in the time and put in the effort and give you what you're asking for in that department, you're going to overflow their cup in terms of knowledge and preparation and what the things that it takes to win. And that's why you see the Bishop McNamara Mustangs go from a team and a program, with a 0 in the front number to a team that's 500 with a bullet and competitive against teams that they weren't a couple years ago. So I think that's a real big feather in your cap, Coach.
I appreciate it. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be around some great coaches, great people. My high school coach, Tom Clark, my college coach, Tubby Raymond, God rest his soul, who's a 300-game winner, college Hall of Famer, Bobby Wild at Old Dominion. I've had the opportunity just to learn a lot of football, and I'm still learning a lot. So for me, we try to have a foundation at McNamara. One, it's bigger than football. So we talk more about life than we do football. And part of that, if you can get them to understand that and how to deal with things when it doesn't go your way in adversity, the football comes easy. The X's and O part, I can do it in my sleep. So what I tell them is always about preparation and how to prepare yourself to play on the next level, because you're not going to deal with fair and right on any level. Cam Newton's out of a job right now.
Yeah.
So, so you have to be able to deal with things that don't seem to go your way right at that moment. But you also have to be prepared, because if you're not prepared, there's, as I say to them, there's no one to blame but yourself, to look yourself in the mirror. So when a coach gives you an opportunity to talk about what you know on the field and the nuances of the game, you have a chance to elevate yourself to the next level. So one of the greatest things I always get from my players who leave is, Coach, I come back and say, I was prepared, Coach. I was ready. and that's the goal. And sometimes people lose sight of that. I know the W's are supposed to be everything, but it just doesn't come down to that. There's only one champion. But so everybody else has got to go play. But I want those guys to be able to have successful careers. Like I said, whether it's in football or off the field. So we always talk about that preparation, and I'm hard on them. I'm hard on them about knowing the game and being smarter. We've been talking about it all season about being smarter and understanding what you're seeing, what's going to take place out there. So that's something we definitely try to instill in our players.
Coach, I think that's a great segue to the fact that this time that we're in right now, I mean, you want to talk about adversity, what really is important, more so than sports. What's going on right now, and what we all have to do to keep ourselves safe and keep everybody else safe. And there is no off season for a football coach. How has this time affected you and your relationship with your players, and the things that you've had to change and do to continue doing what you're doing, given that you can't be in the school with the kids and see them and be face to face with them like you normally are?
Well, like I said, there's something to be said about coaching a long time, and you have to be creative. You have to continue to progress in what you're trying to do. Deron Ellis, who's our strength and conditioning coach, does a great job. He sent me a at-home workout that I emailed out to the entire team. We have a group chat. We have an email chat as well. So they have a workout they should be doing and continues to do. I also have been still on the recruiting trail, sending out. We have a recruiting profile that we send out that's pretty detailed with transcripts and test scores and highlight films. So we're kind of keeping the ball rolling. So then we have a group chat with our coaching staff as well. So one of the things we'll start next week, we'll start sending out what we call a play of the day, just to make sure they're still standing in tune with the playbook, offense, defense, special teams. So it's kind of been status quo, other than not seeing them in person. And then the other biggest thing is that they stay on top of the academics. And one of the messages I send out to them is that this is an opportune time if you are struggling academically to get yourself back on track.
Yep.
And if you are succeeding academically, you can stay on track. And you got to stay focused and concentrating, again, about the challenges of adversity. And like I said, this is obviously an adverse time. It's bigger than football, what's going on right now. But, sometimes you find a little peace back in the thing that you love. So my prayers go out to all the families and all the people around the country that are going through this. And it's obviously, like I said, it's a scary time. I want them first and foremost to be safe and take care of their families. And then, we try to add some football into that, like I said, to keep kind of a level head about everything of what's going on.
When do you plan on hitting him with Cadillac left?
Trust me, when you have this kind of time, there's a lot of ideas that come to your head. So there's a lot of
just making
of
sure
reflecting some what ifs and probably should haves and wills and so yeah, there's a lot of that goes on.
Coach, before we let you go, I want to just get a quick question from you. We'll make the assumption for the purpose of this final question that we're back in school in September and things are back to normal in our lives, and we're getting to root on our favorite teams and watch guys like you, lead our favorite teams. What kind of expectations do you have? You lose a lot in Womack and Osborne, but McNamara's program is young. It's been touted as such. You've done a really good job of developing young players. We saw it firsthand when we showed up for the McNamara Gonzaga game, the manner in which you worked all kinds of different looks in and got underclassmen really on the field a lot. So can you, without, I know we don't need to lavish praise on sophomores, freshmen and sophomores or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I want to make them earn it. But can you talk a little bit about what you're looking for this upcoming season and kind of where Mustang fans can be excited?
Well, you hit on it. Patience is the first thing. You're right. We're young. We lost 27 seniors. But we were a very talented JV team. I think lost one game this year. And so what I've said to this team may be a little better in the sense of they don't know as much. And sometimes when you don't know, you play a little better. You don't think it's hard. So we have talent. So talent won't be the question. You know, we got some good young players coming back. Devin Morgan, who's going to be a Division I athlete, our center. We just have some guys that really can plug in and play. You know, we got some more experience at quarterback. They'll have another year in their offense. So, you know, you always got to have a good trigger man. So when you start there, that's always a plus. And Jordan Pierce has done a great job in the offseason. So, but, you know, like I always say, nobody's going to feel sorry for us, and they understand that. We're going to prepare them. And one of the things I've always done on any level is I've never been a front-loaded kind of coach. You know, I want guys to get reps in practice, and I'll put guys in even though they think they're not going in, to kind of give them that trial under fire, if you will. So these guys have been around it. They've been around it in the off season. They know the expectations. We got some good leadership coming back. So, you know, it's what we just talked about. It's all about preparation and learning football. And if we do the things we're supposed to do, and I know we can do, we'll be as competitive, if not better, than we were last year.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you for your time. I know even though it seems like we have a lot of time on our hands, these days go by fast, and that's a blessing. Certainly is a blessing that the days do still go by fast. I hope that you'll consider coming back. I know that I speak for all of us when I say there's no place like Forestville to be taken care of. Those folks take such good care of us when we show up on campus, no matter what we show
Y'all
up
know
on
how
for.
to do football, man. You
It's
know how to do football in Forestville. There's no doubt about it. It's a great place, great atmosphere.
that
Yeah. So we're going to try to keep doing um, the best we can. Like I said, McNamara is a special place. I want to give a big shout out
Yeah.
to Coach Frank Oliver
yes.
and the women's basketball team,
Yeah.
WCAC champs. Coach Oliver, I have a lot of respect for Coach Oliver. He does a fantastic job. He's been highly supportive of me. So I definitely want to give the ladies a big shout out on their championship. So we're going to keep trying to build every program and try to make this place continue to be a special place.
Well, he's on our list. He's on my list, and he knows it. And if you talk to him, let him know he's going to be getting a call from me soon because we're going to have him on one of these nights. I'll tell you real fast though, before I let you go. After they won the final against PVI at American University, it's just pandemonium, and you could tell the deep relief in the entirety of the McNamara program, from the kids to the parents to the coaches, especially Frank, to get over the hill, to accomplish that goal that had been so elusive and was so hard to get. And on one hand, you could see how great it was. The feeling was based on how hard it was to get. And we had Madison Scott and Frank Oliver on with us at the mid-court booth where we were calling the games from for that day. And we had him come on, and he's being mobbed. There's not a single person that doesn't want a piece of Frank Oliver at this point in time, right? Every single person's his best friend, and it's which is hilarious. And he sits down at the table in front of me and kind of points me in the direction of Maddie Scott to talk to her. And I think he sat in silence for, oh, maybe it was 60 seconds, maybe it was a full 3 minutes without saying a word and looking away, like, don't even talk to me. And I, in my heart of hearts, I think that was like the most peaceful 3 minutes in the middle of that storm for a coach. I felt like that was like the best thing we could have done for him. He didn't want to talk right
Yeah.
that second. He wanted that 3 minutes. That's probably the only 3 minutes he got all day and for days after that. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget looking at his face, a smile, some contentness, kind of coming out of his face. He sat down. Everyone's standing. There's a whole crowd. There's hundreds of people around. He sits down and kind of slinks away into the corner of where we were. And I love that. I love that moment for him, and I certainly love that moment for those girls and their parents, especially, and all those coaches. So, Coach Malloy, thank you so much for being part of that. It's a team effort.
And I'll just add to one thing to that.
Yep.
And that's who Frank Oliver is.
Yep.
He's a humble guy. I love everything about him. And that's just really who he is. And like I said, it's a pleasure to coach with those guys. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of those young ladies. So, like I said, we'll continue to try to hopefully match some of that success.
We're going to be seeing you soon and hearing from you soon, and we certainly hope for and expect great things, Coach. Thanks again for joining us tonight, and hey, keep on the lookout for First Amendment Sports when we show up on your campus.
Absolutely. You're always welcome, brother.
All right. Thanks, Keita. I'll see you
Keep it
soon.
rolling, Coach.
All right. I appreciate you guys.
All right, see you later.
Take care.
Well, T, another First Amendment Sports WCAC interview. It kind of gets the week started. We have some cool ones coming up. But
That's right.
uh,
Get that one in the books, though. I mean, Keita's done a great job. He's going to just continue to try to do a good job. He's got good kids over there. As we said, they'd love to do football. I mean, they got the atmosphere. They just need to, turn it up a little bit more on the talent on the field, and they're going to be right there, man. They're in the right league to know where they got to go, and I think it's not a secret to Coach Malloy or to the kids of what they have to do. And I'm always impressed each time I go out there that it's getting a little bit better and a little bit better. This stuff doesn't get done overnight. He's doing a heck of a job trying to get them there.
It's yet another example of just a good man, good men, good women. When we meet these coaches, I'll tell you what, um, they just don't let you down. They just don't let you down. But I tell you what, here's how we're gonna get out of here tonight, T. We touched a little bit on it by talking to Coach Malloy. I wanted to talk to you, and this would be a evolving conversation. We obviously need to get Ricka his 2 cents and get some folks on the board to ring in. But I thought tonight would be a good a night as any to talk about what we saw in the season that we just covered, and maybe get your take on some of the best things that you saw, and then we're going to shape it up this time in terms of games, best games the First Amendment Sports brought to you out of the WCAC in the 2019-2020 season, and I'm going to let you kick it off and get things started.
So am I going with all but my top three right off the bat?
So everyone who's just watching for the first time, T's a rules guy. He is a rules guy.
I'm a rules guy. I'm a lawyer. I mean, I got to know
lawyer.
what I got to know what this.
So you lay out the thing, and then there's like a whole negotiation and bargaining session. I'm not throwing anything out. Everything's on the table. We're not discounting anything. Everything's fair game.
I'll tell you what. We saw some great games.
Yeah.
We really did. We get blessed that this league is so good. No matter what the sport is, no matter what day of the week it is, when we go out, we cover these kids. We see some great stuff. It was hard to fit these great games into a ranking of three, and that's going to sound a little bit like chalk, but I'm going to throw my three out there and just get it out of the way because I have a bunch of honorable mentions I want to at least mention.
Okay.
But I think the top game overall was the St. John's Good Counsel football championship game.
It was great.
You got to give the big dog his due. They didn't disappoint. That was an unbelievable performance by Good Counsel. The defensive, just dominance in the plays that they needed, and the game plan that Coach Stefanelli and his coaching staff put together against what was a much more talented team across the board in St. John's. For them to pull out that win the way they did was awesome to watch and be a part of. Second would be the DeMatha versus DeMatha's championship.
I mean, you're just going title games. That's okay.
Being the DM grad that I am, I got to throw that in there.
Of course.
Obviously, Mike Jones did a great job with his 500 win. But just watching them all year long and then see them capitalize on it with a championship like that. And then thirdly, to give the girls their due, I'm going to go with the St. John's McNamara semifinal game. That was one of the most talented games I've seen in a long time. To see those girls do what they did on that floor, that would be my top three out of everything that we saw in 2019-2020.
You can't go wrong with the football final. I can't even tell you how crazy it is to imagine that we got those two championship games in football out of the chute. Obviously, the DeMatha Gonzaga game last year, just legendary, and then a game that was won at the very end. The Sevion, swing screen pass out to the side and putting them in range and giving an upperclassman kicker a second chance to get it done, and he did. I got no problem with that, T. And as a McNamara guy, I like that you gave the St. John's McNamara semifinal the nod because that was the dragon they had to slay, that they had yet to slay. And
Yeah.
any great team that any great team wants to be measured against a team like that. McNamara knew that for them to be considered a great team, they had to beat St. John's. They split the regular season. We covered an overtime game in the gym at McNamara where AZ Fudd just, I mean, was, you know, the next level.
Phenomenal.
Showed exactly
Sure.
what she's made of. So I'll give you one that's probably not on your radar, and that's the final between Gonzaga and Good Counsel on the soccer field. My man Ryan Ely, I got to
Oh, it
give
was
him
a
his
great game.
due. Yeah,
Great game.
it was a
I
great
wasn't
game.
there though. I thought this was the ones that we covered. So I think you covered a couple others that I did not.
Yeah, that's true. But First Amendment Sports brought everybody a soccer final that lived up to the First Amendment Sports championship motto, which is win it at the end and make it exciting. And I'll repeat it. So Ryan Ely was all over the place, made that game. I believe he was the Gatorade Player of the Year, and rightfully so. He was physical, fast, just amazing athletics on display. But at the very end, literally seconds before the buzzer, he serves up his teammate with a header from a long pass in for a knock-in goal for Gonzaga to
It was
win
incredible.
in the exact same spot. And this is you can see it on video, so this isn't just like me being an idiot. The exact same spot that Marshall
Like
brought
you
down
usually
the
are.
Caleb Williams, like I usually am, brought down the Caleb Williams Hail Mary at Catholic University. So if I'm Gonzaga, I'm all my plays of the day. If I'm Coach Trivers and any of these other coaches, all my plays of the day involve going to Catholic University and doing something in that area of the end zone at Catholic University because great things happen for Gonzaga. And I'll just add one other because I think the basketball final was great too. T. I I the early in the season, something that stands out for me, and I'll call it a game because it's the longest we've ever been on the air in the history of First Amendment sports. Was the St. John's Deerfield game in late August over at
Yeah.
um, Fernandez Stadium, and it was a well over 4 hours. The heat was brutal, and
It was tough.
one of the kids on the other sidelines, I believe it was King, the
King.
quarterback
Yeah. Quarterback.
who's going places for in
Hmm.
the sport of football, and he had some heat related issues, and he was he required medical attention. And man, if you didn't see every single person on that field, no matter what color they were wearing or where they were from, or springing into action, and Brian Griffin directing traffic, and Pat Ward in the offensive line, and Soljay Maeva, and everyone grabbing ice tubs, and
Yeah, it was certainly the moment of the year. There's no doubt about it. I don't know about the game itself, but
that's right, that's right. Well,
that in itself, that moment was, the embodiment of why we do this stuff, and why
yep,
the coaches do this stuff, and why the kids do this stuff, and why anybody's involved. It was a great thing to see.
I was real proud of everybody that was there that day. So, I, I'll tell you what, T. Let's pick this up the next time we gather, because I know Kevin probably has some agreement. I'm sure he also has, the way he remembers things. Our Rain Man friend.
Oh yeah, I
We're
mean,
probably missing
look,
something like
yeah, of course.
ridiculously
'Cause
obvious.
honorable mentions the St. John's Gonzaga final regular season game, or the DeMatha Gonzaga game we did down at Gonzaga. I mean, I give the edge to the latter, just because I thought it was, it came down to that final kick, and
Yeah.
it was just a great game to watch, and to watch Caleb Williams do what he did and put the team on his back. It was we were treated to so many other great things. Girls final, basketball final was phenomenal as well. And you and Kevin and Darren covered some of the other girls basketball games. I mean, we could have this discussion forever.
Yep. And we will if we have our say. If
Let's continue it a couple times this week and again
yes.
next Tuesday. I'm on board with that.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, I want to say thank you to all the guys who showed up on the board, and to all those folks who watched this in tape delay. We appreciate you. We're thinking about you, and we certainly were with you. Until next time, he's Tim Strachan.
I appreciate it, man. It was great to have Coach Malloy on to tell us what he's going through, what his kids are going through, and the journey that he's taken to get to where he is, where he wants to go. That was great to have him on. And to all those people out there, stay safe, stay healthy. So the kids out there, stay grounded. Good luck with everything, guys. Appreciate it.
Come on back in about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe call it 10 or 12 minutes, and we will have yet another WCAC rep from Gonzaga, an old partner of mine in Hogs Haven, going to join me to talk some Redskins on. Thank God it's Tuesday, and joining our Hogs Haven friends. But until then, I'm Ken Marangolo, and on behalf of First Amendment Sports, I say thank you. And this was the WCAC Spectacular. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, T.
Thanks, bud. Give you all my best.
I will. Still live, Brian.